As you can see, it's an absolutely gorgeous early December day here in Vermont. We had a couple days of snow, and now a couple days of warm, by warm I mean relatively warm. It's 40 degrees, 38, something like that. So warmer weather, some rain. So the snow's melting. Let the geese out today. They've been running around, having a good old time. You can see their prints all over the snow there. But today's video is really about what I've got in addition to the log splitter. So the last video I had mentioned that I bought that log splitter, showed the log splitter, and talked about buying a side tray for it, or an outfeed table, whatever you want to call it. I looked around, looked at some third-party ones that weren't the official Tractor Supply County Line brand. The reviews were that a lot of them were very flimsy and bent and broke, so I couldn't find any that I thought was going to be worth the trouble. Unfortunately, this one has gotten more expensive. It was like $50 just a couple years ago, but now it's like $80. So like everything else, the price has gone up. But I figure it's better to buy the right one and have it work and not bend. This one has pretty good reviews, and I haven't seen any reports of it bending and breaking. So went ahead and bought this one from Tractor Supply. Luckily, my local Tractor Supply store had one in stock, so I just went and picked it up. What I figured I'd do today is open this up, go down to the log splitter, go ahead and install it, and then run a couple rounds through, see how it performs, and then give you a little feedback. So I'm gonna open this box up, take a look at what's in here, get it ready, and then I'll jump back in here in a minute when we're down at the log splitter. Well, I was gonna take us down to the log splitter, but what kind of unboxing video would this be if I didn't actually unbox it on video? So here we are. Go ahead, pick it up. It looks like it's just taped together, so we'll just run a pocket knife through there. All right, put this knife away. Lay this back down. All right, let's see what we got in here. So as you can see, it comes packaged with some cardboard. Be good to throw in the fire later. Really not a lot in here, as I would expect. It's pretty much just the tray, right? Which does feel pretty sturdy. That's good. Doesn't feel cheap. This is actually looks like it's metal. It's not crappy quality, real thin. This isn't flimsy. That should hold up. And then the bolts to mount it. I don't think you need really anything else for this. So yeah, that's quite uneventful unboxing, but that's pretty much it. You get the bolts to mount it, and you get the logs tray, or the log catcher. I do notice that this is kind of nice. I didn't realize this when I saw it online, but if you look here, so the log splitter will drop the log out on here, and it actually has a little bit of a lip here, so that it even keeps the log from falling off the sides. We'll get a better look at that when we're down there at the log splitter, but yeah, looks pretty nice. I'm impressed with the quality. It seems to be welded pretty good. It's got a nice coat of paint on it. Hopefully this will hold up against the weather. We do keep the log splitter in the shed, or under one of the run-in sheds, but still, it's outside in the humidity. And as you can see from looking outside, like I was just discussing, it's not always beautiful weather here in Vermont. Sometimes we get misty, cloudy, or a lot of times we get misty, cloudy, cold conditions, rainy, snowy. So equipment needs to be able to handle that. Something with some scratch paint and, beat up edges, or, flimsy construction probably wouldn't be the best. This looks like it might work. Time will tell though, for sure. But all right, I'm going to grab a wrench so that we can, put these on, and then I'll go down to the log splitter and jump back in. All right, hoping you guys can see me okay in there. I've got the tripod set up as best as I can in this shed. I got the tractor over here and the log splitter here, so there's not a ton of space, but hopefully this is working and you can see me okay. Basically what we have here is the log splitter's laid out. We've got the motor on the left side here, from where I'm standing, right side from where you're viewing. And I'd like to put the catcher on the side here where the motor is, so that we catch logs and they don't fall and damage the equipment. I did see a couple of posts on my last video that mentioned that, and that's a very good point. We want to protect the equipment so that these big rounds aren't falling, or these half rounds aren't falling on there. So basically what we're going to do, it should be pretty straightforward, is as I showed you in the previous video, which I'll link somewhere in one of the corners of this video, is there's 2 bolts underneath here, 2 bolt holes underneath there. And all we have to do is take those bolt holes and put a bolt in them. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to put a bolt and a washer on one side, through this. There's let me come up here. See if you can see this here. Yeah, so there's some bolts and some washers that are included. We'll just put those through and hold this thing on. I'm gonna start with one, get it started, get the second one on, and then I'll tighten them down, outside of hand tightening them once I'm ready. Got a toolkit out here ready to go, so we should be all right. As long as I don't drop stuff all over the place. It isn't the easiest to work on this alone. The wife's at work today though, so I don't have anybody to lend a hand on this. Okay, so I got all my tools in order. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna feed this bolt through. I got the first bolt here with a washer on it. So feed that through there. I'm gonna come down here and line it up with the first hole. Get it in there. Get it started just a little bit. And then I'll pop the wrench onto it. The socket wrench. And get it really going. Doesn't seem to want to grab very well on this side. Hopefully I can make it grab. Yeah, it does not want to grab as well on this side as it did on the back side. I think it's just that there's some paint in there. Yeah, there we go. So, because there's some paint in there, it didn't want to thread through right off the bat. But we got it going now, so that's good. So we'll get that going, and then we'll start the next one. And then what we'll have to do is put the bolt on the back side. So maybe we'll just do that on this one first, get it started so it doesn't fall out. So the bolt has a bolt and a lock washer. So we just come on this side, you can see the bolts coming through already. This thing was pretty, I don't know that we even need this. Being that there's a bolt on the back side, I'll show you that here in a second. I think this will just stay in there. Yeah, I believe it will. Yeah, pretty nice. Don't even need the backside bolt. So if you buy this from Tractor Supply, and you buy the other item from Tractor Supply, the shelf and this, the County Line 25-ton log splitter has a welded on bolt on the back side of this. So basically all you need, or it has a welded on nut on the back side. So you put your bolt through, and there's a welded on nut ready to receive it. Pretty nice. I didn't recognize or realize that. I've been looking at the other side. I guess these bolts that come, or these nuts that come with it, are for, other model log splitters. But because I bought County Line to County Line, it's pretty nice. Comes all set for you. Now the holes do line up perfectly, so you can kind of just drop them in there, start them off with hand screwing them, and then use your socket wrench to tighten them up. So once this is tightened, I'll go grab the camera here, show you what they look like. All right, so that installation was super easy. I made it harder than I needed to by thinking that I needed those other nuts, but you don't. One thing that I will say is if you don't have a toolkit like this, always just get one. These things are super cheap at, what is it called? Harbor Freight. Especially if you have like the $25 or 25% off coupon. You can get this thing for like 20, 30 bucks when they're on sale. And this is great. It really is. it's not a high quality tool set by any means, but for something that you can drag around and drop down in the dirt and don't worry about it if it gets a little messy, these things are really nice to have. I usually keep it in the back of the truck, just ready to go. But here's the log catcher. You can see it's pretty sturdy. It's on there good. The bolts that went in are there. Those are the bolts that I put in with a washer or in front of them. And then what I was mentioning is that it's got these welded in receiving nuts here. So that was nice because I didn't need to use these nuts that came with the kit. Like I said, these are probably for, another model. If you were not using a county line, or if your log splitter for some reason didn't have these receiving nuts welded on, then you'd need those. But for me, because they're here, it just made it even easier, right? You just screw them from the backside there, tighten them down, and you're good to go. And as I was mentioning up on the porch, it has this nice lip right here. So when the log falls off, it's gonna roll out. And I was worried that, it might roll this way at some point and go into the motor, which would be bad. I was actually thinking about putting it on this side specifically for that reason. But looking at it now, I do like that this has this lip. It's really nice because what it'll do is it'll stop the log from sliding off and falling onto your motor. You don't want to, ruin your motor. Okay, well, that was a lot easier than I expected. Everything so far with this log splitter has been easy and straightforward. It's really, friendly for someone getting started like me that hasn't used one of these in the past. I'm going to see if I can find a round or two. We had already cut up all those rounds that I talked about in the last video. We went ahead, my dad was here for Thanksgiving. It was nice having my parents visiting. And he was out here and helped me through this. And we burned through this whole pile, which was that entire maple tree that was piled up right there. If you look in that last video, there was a maple tree there. We went through this in less than 45 minutes. I mean, it was pretty fast. It took me longer to walk the rounds back and forth, to load up the splitter, walk the round from over there to here, than it did for us to actually cut the wood. Very, very, very quick. And we started cutting some smaller ones just to kind of get a mix. Like some of these are pretty small. We also were smacking out a bunch of dead carpenter ants because the tree, the reason, after we cut it down and chopped it up, realized why the tree was dying and it had a carpenter ant infection or infestation. So we tried to get as many of those out as possible as well. So yeah, this thing really does work well. I don't know, this is probably a third of a cord, maybe a half of a cord of wood. And, was done in less than an hour. Really, really fast. What the goal is here is what we're going to do is get some pallets on the ground. I got one against the wall back there, and I got a old ratty one there. Get those on the ground, and then at some point get this wood stacked on there. That wood over there is pretty dry already, so we could burn that this winter. This has to set for at least another, 6 or 8 months to season. So we'll get this all set and put it over there. And then I'm going to start working on some of the other hardwood that's back there. You can probably make it out right there. There's a stack. That's all a stack of hardwood that I got to run through this. I'm going to see, I think I cut a couple rounds off of that when I was testing the chainsaw chain that I just got a couple weeks ago. So if I can, I'll come back over here and I'll run a log or two through, see how the offload tray works. So here's that pile of hardwood that I have. I got over here and I think I got carried away a little bit and maybe cut up a little too much, but that's okay. It needs to be cut up. You can see I was working over here. There's a bunch of rounds still here that I haven't put up. But all the rounds that I cut up over here are in the back of the truck. Got them all loaded up. I'm gonna drive them over to the log splitter and get it working. that worked great. The shelf works perfectly. The log falls right off onto it. I don't have to reach around and pick it up again and bring it onto the splitter again, which is going to save my back for sure. These are pretty wet. They've been out in the rain and they were covered in snow. They're pretty much frozen through as well. And as you can see, this thing really just runs through them, no problem at all. So once again, really nice machine. This is a must-have add-on if you buy one of these. I would definitely say to go get one. The shelf is not super expensive, and the time that it'll save killing your back, lifting and dropping those rounds is well worth it in my opinion. So I think that's gonna be it. I got a whole pickup truck load of logs to split here, of rounds to split. So yeah, got a whole load of rounds to split here. I gotta get to work. It's raining, it's a little cold. I'd like to get this done before it gets too late. Gotta pick the wife up from work. It's a Saturday. So yeah, thanks again for watching. I hope this was helpful. If anybody owns one of these and is thinking about getting the log shelf, once again, I think it's totally worth it. As you can see, the log splitter is still working great for me. You know, like I said, if you want to watch that previous video, I put the link earlier. This thing is gonna definitely save my back and makes it so much easier than swinging an axe. So got a lot of work ahead of me. Hope you guys have a good day. If you like this video, like this content, please give it a thumbs up, share it if you would like, and subscribe to the channel. We're constantly putting up videos to talk about things we're working on here at the house, different projects that we got going on, different animals we're raising. So we'd appreciate it if you subscribe. Once again, have a good day. Thanks everyone.